Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about international resourcing for Mittelstand. Hi, my name is Can and I am the founder of 360 Digital Transformation. We help small and medium businesses, so Mittelstand, to optimize, digitalize and automate their business-specific processes. Today I have Florian Hübner with me and he is the founder of Dicondia. And also he is the founder of Startup Creator, but today we will talk about Dicondia and how he enables international resourcing, especially from India to German Mittelstand. Without any further ado. Hello, Florian. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Can. Thanks for having me. So I'm Florian, founder and CEO of Dicondia. And let me start differently. You might know the problem not having the right IT team, not having the right developers. And this was a huge bottleneck for me a long time ago. So I coded by myself. It was not really the output that I wanted for a more complex project. I tried it out with German freelancers, but they were mostly not available or pretty expensive. And then an Indian team offered me to work for free, and that hooked me. I flew down there, they convinced me, but in general, this market, this Indian market, is pretty intransparent. Who is good, who is bad? There are like 80% black sheeps. So what I did over the years, with a lot of good and bad experience, I could vet who are the right developers for me and my customer. And that's why then I set up the platform Dicondia, where you can then, or Mittelstand, also smaller companies, bigger companies, can find Indian developers, but obviously not everyone, but only the best qualified by us. That's what we do in general.
That's great, and thank you for the introduction. And it was a good elevator pitch, I would have to admit. Thank you for that. But as far as I understand, you are a software developer by yourself, right?
Like I studied business, but also as a kid, I already developed my first web pages. I wanted to start the biggest joke website, where you can read jokes all over Germany. That didn't work out. So I did a lot of web development by myself, but I realized at a certain point, I am not the coder guy. It would have needed much more, I don't know, getting into it, more experience. So I said, look, I can be the architect. I can kind of prepare the concept together with the tech leads, but I'm not the guy who will code day in, day out, because to be honest, I also don't have the patience for this. So no, I'm not doing it. I can revise some stuff, but it's definitely not my current expertise.
But I understand enough, and that's a good point that I can continue with my questions. And I think um, what you mentioned, the outsourcing, is an important point for Mittelstand, as we consider that there is shortage of engineers, of software developers in Germany and generally in Europe, I would say.
Yeah.
And but there is also a prejudice against international resourcing. How do you convince Mittelstand to use international talent?
Yeah, that's a good question. And luckily, I don't have to convince them. It's
Okay.
2021. They are really desperate with freelancers, with employees, so many the lack of freelancers and employees, that they come to us. That's not then my job to say, look, I'm here, I exist. No, because it's really difficult for them to get this talent, this German talent, anyways, or also the international. So imagine you are a German Mittelstand company in the middle of nowhere. Let's say, not say you're in Berlin, I'm in Munich. Still, there's a lot of competition, but it might work still easier. And now you are there, I don't know, really in the middle of nowhere, and you need a Flutter developer. So
Mhm.
you think the talents of today, the most precious resources of tomorrow, they decide to join your company. They won't. Why should they? So also, like, imagine you have to win this battle against the big corporates like Google, or the battle against fancy startups. And also in terms of budget, you might say, look, I got so much kind of revenue over the last years, still you won't win this game. And now you have also then, besides the employees, you have the German freelancers. And they are most likely, when I ask, for example, for the availability, they are booked out until end of the year.
Ausverkauft.
Come again?
Ausverkauft.
Ausverkauft, exactly how you say in Germany. So no chance. And if they are immediately available full time, then I'm suspicious. Okay, wait, did you just start it, or what's going wrong here? Then I have to ask, because normally, like, it's for many months you can't get them. And what we do then, we offer those customers to start next Monday, and they could even have an interview the same day. So it's not about how I convince Mittelstand to come to us, but more how they become convinced for the way of working with international talent. Because number one, international talent means talking English. And imagine, we have with our agency, we have even Mittelstand clients who don't speak any English, and our German project managers, they have to take over here. And this is far from the perfect solution. Well, it works. It's mainly then waterfall projects. And that's not the way how you should work with international talent. So I have to get them there. They should also use, those frameworks, those agile ones like Scrum. Mm-hmm. And that's the most difficult thing, to convince them here. But I also tell them you have to implement modern work styles. And besides convincing them, we have to prepare them, and also partly, my job is also to scare them away, because I tell them the truth. Because it's obviously easier with a German in-house resource than with an Indian developer somewhere with the Zoom, for example. Indians have an accent. Sometimes it's hard to understand them, or not at all. You cannot understand them at all. And in general, they are not as reliable as the typical German. So you have to find trust and establish that. And sometimes they won't understand anything. So you need to have the patience and explain them. So we definitely need to prepare the Mittelstand heavily.
Okay, but you are then in between as a bridge, as a project manager. So making sure that the communication also runs well.
Yeah, in those worst case scenarios, yes. But in the best case scenarios, it should definitely happen. They come to us, they get the right resources on our platform. They do this kind of, let's call it a CV check, a test, and then also perhaps a call to get to know them, if they really understand them. And then they see, okay, I can work directly with them. If it doesn't work, then yes. Then we have also the German project managers, but it's pretty ugly. It's not fun for both working if you have this kind of, we call it in German, Flüsterpost, between three people, you have to always then bring this message to the next one. And in the end, something different is the outcome, so it's not perfect at all.
Then you mentioned, how you help Mittelstand, but why India?
Okay, so India for me is not only the next IT superpower, it always was, but it was never an IT superpower in Germany. So outsourcing with IT started already in the 60s between US and India, in particular Bangalore. You might have heard about this hub. And oh boy, this got established over the decades. All the big American companies, and also some German big corporates like Daimler, Siemens, and so on, they outsource to India. Sometimes it works well, sometimes not. It's not hassle-free, but never the Mittelstand. There is this cultural gap between Germany and India, and this didn't happen. And also, I personally have a very strong connection to this country. And honestly, I would kill for those people. And, it's a bet also from my side because, besides offshoring with India, nearshoring in Europe. So that means like you nearshore this work to countries like Poland, Ukraine, and so on. It's even perhaps less hassle-free because it's closer, more similar culture. So it's easier at the first glance. But, the standard of living in Eastern Europe, it's rising. And, I'm very happy for them because earlier you could also convince them to come to Germany to get high salaries. And now, it gets difficult from every year to year. They say, no, I stay in Poland. I earn the same, so I don't have to come there. And now that's pretty sad to say. But in India, as you know, you have a population of 1.4 billion people. And it's rising, but it will never meet the standards then of Europe. So the prices won't change, and it won't but the talent will still kind of flow in. You know how Indians can have their qualities. We talked about it earlier, and it won't make a difference perhaps if you look at the next 2 to 5 years. But I'm betting heavily on what will happen in 10 years, when you have this shift of standard of living, and then it will be big, and then I will be there. But it takes time.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the nearshore was quite often used in early 2000s, till the last decade, I would say, and last 5 years, I also have the same feedback from different industries that people from, let's say, Poland, Czech Republic, they say, hey, I have almost the same salary here. My expenses are kind of low because in comparison with the rental prices in Munich, for example. So they kind of prefer to stay home. And I totally agree to your point. But as we spoke earlier, we were not recording, and I just want to give the same example to our audience right now. I have studied my second master's in Germany and had a lot of Indian colleagues, and we had to qualify for the program. It was an MBA program, but as the competition in India, because of the number of applicants, is way more higher than almost any other countries in the world, then the guys who came from India were really competent because they had to jump over higher hurdles. So and when you know them, when you work with them, when you do projects and you understand, hey, great guys here, and then you say, why not do it in a larger scale? I mean, they don't have to come to here. At least after Corona, after the pandemic, we learned that remote is possible, even in Germany. So right now, the companies have home office policies, but that's also the infrastructure side, right? The companies have home office policies. They have their they made it through these security standards. They made it through these DSGVO standards. So what I mean is that right now the infrastructure in Germany for remote working is way more advanced in comparison to 2 years ago.
Yeah, of course. That's very lucky for us also,
That's what I wanted to say, actually. and people are here right now more open to remote work, regardless of whether you are in India, in Papua New Guinea, or in Turkey, or in Czech Republic. They are more open, because I see a lot of my German colleagues, they are working from Italy, Spain, wherever they want, because of the new possibility to be able to work remotely.
Of course, and imagine we brought also some colleagues from India here to Germany, and they liked it, yes, but they are very family bound. They don't want, like you and I. We could say, okay, let's go for 1 or 2 years, let's say to Australia, and it would be fun for us. But in general, also there are like those kind of culture gaps where you see, okay, they want to live together with their family. They don't want to give that up, and they are like food in Germany. I showed them the Bavarian food. Ooh, they cannot really eat it. They can have the salad perhaps and the Kaschbatzen, but that's it. So that's also one
And
thing
vice
where
versa.
Weißwurst never. Most of them are vegetarian, and also if they're not vegetarian, they would not like it. No, never. So they would not even enjoy it. Some of them do here in Germany,
Yeah.
but those ones that I brought here, let's say for 2 to 4 weeks, they were always very happy to get back. And I was like, oh my God, how can this get established? But now we see, come on, it doesn't matter. You have this laptop in front of you, you can work remotely, you don't have to leave your country. So I would say Corona is still pretty bad, but in terms of the digital boost, it did us a very big favor.
Yes, yes, yes. And I mean, in India, there are 200 languages spoken. So it's a huge country, and huge, even in the country, there are huge cultural differences. So it's a rare case, but I really like what you are doing. But I am just taking our topic back to Mittelstand. Can you please give
Yeah.
us use cases from your clients in Mittelstand? What kind of projects you developed? Maybe you give us a recent example.
Yeah, I can give you different ones if you want. So, for example, we have a mid-sized IT company. It's in the automotive sector, and it's in a small city in Germany. Not a small company, but it's impossible for them to find a tech talent. And on the other hand, they live the Scrum. So, and they speak English all the time. So they are the best example of a digital mid-sized company. And yeah, they are in the IT, so it's definitely a favor for them. And they take our resources on a month base, which makes them pretty happy because they're also so flexible. There are months where they don't need them. There are months where they need more. And if something doesn't work, they give us immediate feedback. So either we improve it, or worst case, if it doesn't work out with the resource, then we change it. And in the end, yeah, everyone is happy. And on the other hand, we have also the classic Mittelstand, which is not from the IT. They never heard about it, but they realized they have to go with the flow. So then we have also an agency in the background, and we take also then those fixed price projects. And those fixed price projects, they are not fun because they are, waterfallish. Everything is defined beforehand, and it's not fun for the client, nor for us, because it's flexible, not at all. And that brings us to the point that you don't have like huge revisions in that case. So it might be in the end that you get this complex solution, but you anyways didn't want it. So you have more risk, you have more uncertainty, you don't have those kind of feedback circles. So that's actually a disadvantage. But what we do with them is that we obviously, and also with those ones who take immediately our resources, that we consult them obviously for free. That's what you have to do with them, heavy consultation, because they come to you and say, look, I need an Android developer and an iOS developer. And then I ask them, okay, why do you do it in native? Why not with Flutter, where you can have one code base and less cost? And they say, oh, we never heard about that. So we have customers that don't need consulting. They want a resource now. And then we do the qualification process that I mentioned beforehand, right? But also not only hard skills, but also soft skills. So how do they communicate? Are they team players? So we give them also the transparency. But yeah, it depends from company to company. They are like, in terms of flexibility, we give them flexibility, but they are very different.
Yeah, but I think there are 2 points that you mentioned. It worth to repeat. One is that you don't work with, so they don't hire the employee. They can work in a very flexible basis, like monthly, per project, per week. So is that correct?
Yes. For the beginning, I would say we can also make a test of 1 week, but normally they should go for 1 month. They should, but if it doesn't work, they get the money back, because if that's for them lost, they will not come back if we charge them for that. So we have to give them this flexibility. Yes.
Yes, that's I think important, because it lowers the risk for the client, and it's so important to have low risk, high return. And if the resource is valuable, then here is the high return. But low risk is actually accelerates their decision making, and I loved what you have chosen as a strategy there. And the second thing is, you said there are different types of clients, and of course there are IT heavy clients. Their value proposition is around IT, and they speak English, and there is a quick match there, I see, no problem. And with a typical German company, where they don't necessarily speak English, and it's so normal, because you said something that small town, big company. It's so rare to Germany. You don't see any of them in Turkey. It's a small town, small company, big town, big company. There is no
hidden champions.
But in Germany, that's could be very surprising. In the middle of nowhere, there is a company with revenues of 200 million euros per year, and that's so common in Germany, right? That's the power of German Mittelstand. And it gets interesting when you say you don't only then provide the resource, but also provide on top of that a free consultancy. So it could be technical consultancy, it could be project management, so that you increase your value proposition to the customer, and the customer is also kind of being developed. Their ways of methods of working change, so they might like the Scrum methodology and try to choose a pilot project, and then, hey Florian, let's integrate this to a small project, something like this. So I think it's great, but do I kind of summarize it well?
Yes, exactly. So you have to imagine that this shift is coming, that the typical Mittelstand goes more towards agile, which helps us a lot. So what they then do is, they have this kind of flexibility, because on average, a company waits in Germany 150 days to fill a position in IT. And that leads to lack of sales, slower innovation, which they might have anyways had beforehand. So that's really kind of hindrance. That's why they're coming to us, because they know, okay, in the next month, I won't find those resources internally or also externally. So they come then to us, they get this kind of fast availability within 72 hours. And if it doesn't work out in the beginning, let's say with the test, they don't have to pay. And then obviously, let's be honest, it's also the pricing. This makes it also appealing that for a German developer, you have to pay partly 5 times more than for the Indian counterpart. So that's also something where I see, okay, those guys, they don't have the massively deep pockets, so they also have to look at their budget. So that makes it also, again, a bit attractive.
That's right. And you said, I also agree that Mittelstand is changing, and they have to change, because change is the only constant, right? And the way you and your company takes part in this is quite exciting. But before we close, what's your top suggestion for Mittelstand owners and managers to apply right away?
So I would say, like, as the the podcast talks about it, if you look at your shirt, get digital. That's the number one suggestion I see so many mid-sized companies which are not digital at all, even after Corona. And I think, wow, you won't exist anymore in 5 years. And that means also, obviously, working with international talent. You're going to need it. And you have to prepare your company for that. Why hire now new people who don't speak English or didn't work internationally or with an international team? Because you can't get rid of them according to the German law. So you might choose them wisely, but now. So that's my suggestion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to grow a tree and eat apples from the tree, you have to put the seeds now, and then maybe in 5 years you will eat it.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
you can go to groceries and buy apples. So there are two ways, but if you are looking for something very specific, but you are still have your budget, I believe Mittelstand does have a budget, because they are not have the luxury spending like the enterprises do. Therefore, the Mittelstand is way more successful than the enterprises. Therefore, German Mittelstand is number one in the world, because they are very good at what they are doing. They know their markets, they know their products, and they are very careful with what they are doing, so that they are very efficient. But demographics changed, times changed with the digital, I would say even digital revolutions. And right now there is a shift in the mindset, and I see that when talking to you. A lot of companies doing quite great stuff, innovative stuff, and they were already innovative with their patents. Look at the number of patents that German Mittelstand has. It's quite huge. So which means they are innovative in their core business, but they have to take this innovativeness and then spread it around to resourcing, to digitalization, and to internationalization. Then they will reap these seeds in the next couple of years. So that was a summary. Just wanted to share it with you. Florian, thank you so much. But how people can find you?
Like even they add me in LinkedIn, Florian Hübner, or they go on Google Dicondia.com and just call. If you send an email, it always gets not the same dynamic. So just call me, and then we figure it out.
Okay, I will put the links in the description. But Florian, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation, and what you do is, I think, quite valuable. And in the long run, we will see more companies like yours, I believe.
Thanks, John. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you. I release one episode every Tuesday at 7:45 a.m. and also other videos for digital transformation. If you like the content, please subscribe, and you can reach me out anytime by my email. Here it is. And thank you for visiting my channel.